Hey fellow Tamers and Digidestined, it's Mike aka Sanaku from Overground and welcome back to the channel. So last time we covered the red Greymon, Agumon, Omnimon toolbox, whatever the heck you want to call it. It was the red episode of our Rainbow series. Well, now we're going to go to the opposite end of that spectrum and we're going to be covering the color blue, and in this case we're going to be looking at Agumon's counterpart, the Gabumon engine introduced in BT5. However, we're not going to be specifically focusing on Garurumons themselves. Instead, this deck's main focus is going to be on Ancient Garurumon. So let's look at the deck list. First of all, we're playing 4 copies of the new Sunomon from BT5, as well as 1 copy of Upamon. Now, Sunomon kind of helped solve some of the issues we had with Blue in the past, whereas Blue did not have a lot of DP increases in their repertoire. So you were kind of just stuck with what you had. And if your Digimon didn't have jamming, you were always just kind of taking a risk every time you had to throw your Digimon into your opponent's security. Well, no more. Now we have more potential to make our Garurumons just that much bigger. So, moving on to the rookie line, we're playing 4 copies of the new BT5 Gabumon, and this is to complement the Agumon counterpart that we covered in the last episode. So similarly, on play we look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and we get to add a Garurumon or an Omnimon that we find among them and add them to our hand. Then we're playing 4 copies of the on-play Gabumon from set 1, 3 copies of Strabimon to help us search out the remainder of our hybrid engine, and 2 copies of Gabumon to give us extra names to play off of Nokia. The Gabumon engine from set 5 is very powerful in relation to the Ancient Garurumon support, because before now, the only way to accurately search for the Ancient Garurumon was through Davis specifically. Unfortunately, Strabimon could never grab it as a target because it was not considered a hybrid Digimon. So unfortunately, it was always excluded from that if you revealed it for the Strabimon. And that often left me in situations where I had to turn down an Ancient Garurumon, put it at the bottom of my deck, and I would never see it for the remainder of the game. Now with the Gabumon engine, I can actually have more reliable search power, so that gives me 7 cards total that can look the top 3 cards in my deck and add it to my hand. And because it's such a vital component of the deck at 4 copies, this added consistency means that we're going to be seeing it pretty much every single game without fail. And that's very important as we go into our champion lineup. So to start us off, we're playing 4 copies of the Promo Lobo. This is the one that allows us to flash Ancient Garurumon into play at the champion level for a cost of 1. And then that way we can turn the Promo Lobo into Ancient Garurumon immediately, get our double checks, potentially more depending on how the rest of our board state is lined up. But if we ever have to evolve over the Promo Lobo, which in some cases we will, that it reduces our Ancient Garurumon's cost by 2, so we can only evolve into it from an Ultimate to a Mega for 3. We're playing 3 copies of the BT5 Garurumon, because similarly to the Greymon counterpart, again, when we evolve over a Gabumon, we can reduce its memory cost by 1. We're playing 10 Gabumons to enable that, as well as Nokia to potentially help us evolve into this Garurumon for free as consistently as possible. We're playing 2 copies of the regular hybrid Lobomon that can evolve over a Blue Tamer. This will help us close games out if necessary, but also gives us additional targets to float our Ancient Garurumon into when it is deleted. And then we're playing 2 copies of Colamon. This is the new 1-cost evolution blocker that Blue finally was able to get their hands on. And we just have this here just for extra defense if we're going up against specific rush strategies. I'm not sure if I need blockers in this deck yet. I am going to keep it for now, but if I do decide to cut it, I would likely bump the Garurumon to 4 and then the Lobomon to 3. Moving on to our ultimates, we're playing just a straight suite of Garurumons. We have the starter deck Garurumon that if our opponent has something without a source, we get security attack +1. This tested a little bit better than the promo Garurumon that we played in previous Ancient Garurumon lists, and that's because we're not playing as many cards to help us get additional draws. While we do have cards that help us search, we generally have to play them from our hand to do so, so we're getting a net 0 advantage in terms of our hand size. The starter deck Garurumon just seemed to come up a bit more consistently, especially since we're in a format where a lot of cards are playing cards from our hand or trash for free, and that creates Digimon without sources by default. Following that up, we're playing 4 copies of Garurumon Sagittarius mode. This is here twofold because again it gives us more consistency and redundancy in terms of DP increases. The BT5 Garurumon as well, I forgot to mention, shares the same similar inheritable to the Greymon, whereas the Greymon gave all Greymon and Omnimons +2,000, the Garurumon gives all Garurumons and Omnimons +1,000, and the Sagittarius mode carries that same buff as well. So under a right stack, you can potentially get your Ancient Garurumon, 14, 15, 16,000. But what makes Sagittarius mode really cool as well is that we can actually evolve it over any of our level 5s, in this case either another copy of itself or the original Garurumon for 1 cost. And if we have Nokia, we can evolve that for free. And if we have a Garurumon in our source, Sagittarius mode will gain jamming. So this is not unlike what we used to have with the Beowulfmon. And I've just taken him out of this list because I felt that having the full suite of Garurumons was just a little bit more consistent in terms of getting this combo off. I might end up going back to Beowulf. Beowulf can only be searched through Davis and Strabimon, and Garurumon can be searched through Davis and Garurumon. So there's an argument to be had in terms of where the consistency lies. But there's actually a really cool combo you can pull off if you have a Weregurumon Sagittarius mode and you have another stack with Weregurumon and Ancient Garurumon. You can attack with your you can attack with your Sagittarius mode with jamming first, takes the first check, that puts your opponent down to 4. You can attack for security, attack +1 with the Weregurumon. That takes 2 checks away, untaps this, and then untaps the Weregurumon Sagittarius mode again. That puts your opponent down now to 2 security. You attack with this Ancient Garurumon to put them down to 0, and then the jamming Sagittarius mode will finally finish them off. So there's cool like OTK potentials in this deck that you can assemble if you get the right cards at the right time. But I do believe that the ability to get an additional inheritable DP boost, as well as the potential to add jamming, creates more value for the Weregurumon package overall versus when we used to play something like Beowulfmon. Now moving on to the Megas, we're playing 4 copies of Ancient Garurumon himself. Outside of the ways to search him, we want to play 4 copies because we want to see him as often and as consistently as possible. And the other 2 Garurumon that we're playing are searchable through our Gabumon engine, and they're just kind of here for niche specific scenarios. So Zed Garurumon here, Digiburst 2 on Digivolution, gets returned an opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to their hand. And what I'm finding a lot with this deck is that sometimes your opponent will always have a blocker just when you're about to try to go for game. And what Zed helps you do is it helps you just completely eliminate that blocker and then just continue on with your lethal shot. With the BT5 Metal Garurumon does instead, which, sorry for the glare here, it's when Digivolving, we can return any Digimon with an on-deletion effect on our opponent's side of the field to the bottom of their deck. Now, there are a lot of powerful Digimon with on-deletion effects. Ancient Garurumon, ironically, is one of them if you ever had to go up against the mirror match. But something like Chaosmon Valderarm, you can clear that without triggering its effect. You can send an Omnimon's Wart Defeat to the bottom of the deck without having to worry about running into it and having one of your Digimon be destroyed. You can send something like a Millenniumon to the bottom of the deck as well, so it doesn't have the potential to come back. And any Digimon that has an inheritable on-deletion effect, that will also carry over into a target for something that Metal Garurumon can potentially deal with. So we're just playing niche little situations to put us in a situation where we can deal with our opponent's board if specific removal opportunities are there. Blue also struggles in terms of pure removal because a lot of their ways to get things off their opponent's board are in terms of, just returning things to the hand or sometimes returning things to the bottom of the deck. So you have to take advantage of those opportunities when they arise. And finally, in terms of Digimon, we're playing a small Omnimon package because, again, we can search it out of our new Garurumon engine, and that's 2 copies of the original BT1 Omni, and again, this is to help us with our removal, because if we're in a situation where our opponent has a big Digimon and we cannot deal with it, Omnimon will just come down and take care of that threat for us, bar none, no matter what the situation is, no restrictions. And we're playing 1 copy of the Blitz Omnimon just so that we can have a searchable way to end the game if we're just shy. Normally with Ancient Garurumon, it's similarly to the Imperiumon deck, it's very much aggro, it's very much an OTK deck. You can generally close the game out with maybe 2 or 3 turns, and you have a lot of security +1 potential. So what the Blitz Omnimon does is that just that 1 copy, once we get our opponent down to 0, we can evolve into it and just end the game. A lot of the times, if you have an established stack and your opponent can't deal with it, you can get your opponent down to 0, have 3 memory, play this Gabumon or play Nokia to put it into play, find the Omnimon among the cards that you've searched, and then just close the game out from there. I might end up swapping this ratio to be 2 Blitz and 1 regular, or might even remove a card to make it like a 2-2 split, just so that you have the consistency of one way or another. But I think this way right now is probably the best way to go. Keep in mind, whenever we build these Rainbow Series decks, they're always first drafts, and we continue to test these after we've built them and modify them accordingly as the format kind of unfolds. Then we're going to move on to our Tamer account. We're playing 3 copies of Davis. Davis is just the best consistency card for blue, bar none. Let's just look at the top 3 and get to add a blue or green Digimon that we find there to our hand. Furthermore, it sets us to 3 every turn, and because it's a Tamer, it allows us to set up Lobomon game shots as well. And we're playing 2 copies of Nokia. This lets us accelerate our Gabumons into play, and if ever we want to Digivolve into a Garurumon card, we can suspend her to reduce that memory by 1. So this helps combo even further with Ancient Garurumon, because if we don't have access to Promo Lobo, but we have multiple Nokias in play, this will allow us to get our Ancient Garurumons into play faster without necessarily having to end our turn through the evolution process. And finally, we're just playing 4 copies of Hammerspark, the best option in blue that you can possibly play. We're not playing anything like Cocytus Breath now because we're playing more Digimon that can deal with our opponent's threats instead. But Spark is also always a really good security check. You can potentially end our opponent's turn, and it helps us extend our turn even further by giving us additional memory for free. So yeah, this is going to be episode 3 of the Rainbow series. It's going to be the blue Ancient Garurumon deck. So what did you guys think? Please leave your question, comments, concerns, anything in the comment section below, and let me know what you think. If there's any change that you would want to make to this deck as well, if there's anything that you feel that I might have missed or warrants discussion, please let me know. And then maybe if I revisit this deck in the future, I can give you guys a shout out. But yeah, if you like what we do here at the Overground, please consider giving us a subscribe. And yeah, like the video as always, if you like what we do here, so we know that our videos are reaching you guys successfully. So I have been Mike, aka Sanaku, once again. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you all in the next episode of the Rainbow series.